and it is there to encourage all the men to grow their mustaches, okay? So it's a combination of Mo from the mustache and Vember from November, hence Movember, okay? So all this is for the men's mental health and for their wellness. And of course, that is what you can expect later on To the Point, a conversation around men's mental health, their general wellness, and prostate cancer too, okay? So do stand by for that conversation, which shall come your way shortly on this broadcast. But first, the highlights. Tonight, TV47 is lifting the lead on how the 94 million shillings Quickmart heist happened, as police nab 4 key suspects and recover 9 million shillings. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua arranges a meeting with leaders from Meru County to promote reconciliation between Governor Kawera and MCAs. And Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka will run for president in the 2027 elections and plans to go to it alone. A quick one. Are you ready to plant trees tomorrow? And later tonight on To the Point, join our panelists to discuss men's mental health and so much more. Welcome to the broadcast. We invite you to engage with us on our social media handles at TV47 News on X, TV47 Kenya on Facebook, and my X handle is at Grace Kuria KE. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Rhoda Nyamai, and my name is Grace Kuria Kanja. Once again, welcome to the broadcast. Now, with the government's initiative to attain its plan to plant 15 billion trees in 10 years' time, Kenyans have been urged to monitor the growing of the planted trees to ensure they do not wither and die. At Monday's statewide tree planting event, the government plans to plant 100 million tree seedlings. And as Mike Kagwango kicks us off tonight, environmental lobby groups are urging all Kenyans to embrace President William Ruto's initiative using the existing Plant Your Age initiative.
2, 1. In keeping with government's commitment to plant 15 billion trees over the next 10 years, Monday is National Tree Planting Day. This initiative is part of the larger effort to stop deforestation and expand the nation's tree cover. Kenya's forest cover, currently at 7.4%, falls 3.6% shy of the 10% required by the Constitution. The government has asked businesses and development partners to assist in providing tree seedlings, as it has 150 million seedlings available for planting around the nation. 3,000 tree seedlings from the Green Africa Foundation will be planted on November 13. According to Isaac Kalua Green, the chairperson of the foundation, this will be their contribution to making the country greener. Kalua has urged all Kenyans to embrace President William Ruto's initiative using the existing Plant Your Age initiative.
It is not necessarily the day for you to plant a tree, but it is for you to conceptualize in your mind that this is serious business, that I can make money out of planting and growing trees, that I can harvest more food in my farm if I manage the water for the trees to grow.
Due to human encroachment, underfunding of the Kenya Forest Service, and poor custodianship, Dr. Kalua observed that forests are at crossroads where they either survive or decline.
Protection of these trees is also equivalent to how much we resource the Kenya Forest Service. Kenya Forest Service is suffering. They have no resources, no sufficient resources.
In Kiambu, Hearts of Green, an ungovernmental organization that has been championing environmental conservation, food security and climate change issues, has distributed over 100,000 seedlings to individuals, organizations, government and private institutions ahead of the big day, whose activities are expected to help increase the country's forest cover up from the current 7%.
Ni muhimu sana kuwa na miti katika nchi hii. Tutatunza mazingira, hewa itakuwa safi.
Kisii County Commissioner Tom Anjere also led residents and other stakeholders in preparation to plant 110,000 trees on Monday.
The approach we are giving this celebration is the same approach we have been giving to national celebrations, such that the county celebration will be marked at Ntharia Hills in Kisii South.
Having already planted 760,000 trees through government initiative, Meru County plans to plant 11 million trees during this rainy season. Monday's event is expected to start early in Kithoka Primary School, with tree planting activities expected to take place in the upper and lower Imenti forest.
Tunaendelea kesho na kesho kutwa, na mpaka siku hiyo tunataka tujaribu kama tunaweza pitisha kupanda milioni 1.
President William Ruto is set to lead the national tree planting ceremony at the Kiu wetlands in Makueni County, with similar exercises planned across the country. Mike Kagwango, TV47, Nairobi.
Thank you, Mike Kagwango, for that. Now, tonight, TV47 gives you details of how 94 million shillings was stolen by Wells Fargo staffers from the company's headquarters in South C, Nairobi, and moved to different locations within the counties of Nairobi and Kajiado. So far, investigators have arrested 4 individuals linked to the heist. Only 9.1 million shillings out of the total amount of 94 million has been recovered 6 days after the heist. Moige William with the details.
Sunday, detectives drawn from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations and Nairobi region have made progress to last Monday's incident that left the country in Wii, where 2 staffers from Wells Fargo Security made away with at least 94 million shillings, which was weekend sales from Quickmart supermarket, which was being transported to a local bank. TV47 can report that 4 suspects have since been nabbed. However, the 2 main suspects, Daniel Mungai, the crew commander, and Anthony Ndwiki, driver, are still at large. In a scene out of a haste film, the sequence is as follows. Monday, 6 a.m., Mungai and Ndwiki sneaked the truck out of the company's Nairobi offices shortly after the money box was loaded, leaving behind the police escort car that was waiting for the convoy to leave for the back. Alarm was raised after the armed escort team went to inquire from the management why the loading was taking too long. Apparently, after dumping the Wells Fargo vehicle at Dafam in South Sea, Nairobi, the 2 main suspects were picked up by one Ismail Patrick Gitonga, who drove the 2 away from the scene using a Toyota Fielder car registration number KBM 751W to a forest near Kataka Market in Karen. This man, Ismail Patrick Gitonga, was arrested in Rongai. Detectives involved in the ongoing investigations believe that the forest was the meetup point for the suspects, where the cash was shared before the suspects dispersed. A cash box used in the transporting of the stolen money was recovered from this area. After sharing the millions, Gitonga drove to Njiro area in Kayole, Nairobi area to modify the getaway car. Investigators managed to find Michael Njeru and Samuel Onyango, who were hands-on tools modifying the vehicles for concealment. The 2 have been arrested and are helping police with the investigations. The 2, after a brief interrogation, led detectives to a spot near the Thika Road Mall in Roysambu, where the 4th suspect, Martin Nganga, was apprehended. Nganga then led the detectives to a rented house still in Roysambu, where 9.1 million shillings in cash was recovered. The main suspects are yet to be arrested, with investigations ongoing. Moige William, TV47.
Thank you, Moige William, for that. Now, Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka says that he will not support any other candidate come the 2027 general elections, and instead he will be vying for the presidency vote. Speaking in Machakos County during a fund drive aid for the church, the Kalonzo Wiper Brigade in Machakos County, led by Governor Wavinya Ndeti, among many other leaders, affirmed that Kalonzo Musyoka will be on the presidential ballot paper in 2027 general elections, and the Wiper Party will not support any other presidential candidate.
And I want to thank the leaders who came, Governor Wavinya and the teams that went to Luo Nyanza. And our brother spoke his mind. And we are still working together. We are working together na turudi nyuma. Kwa hivyo Azimio la Umoja, One Kenya. Kumbukeni Azimio la Umoja was one team and then One Kenya Alliance, tukaunda a very strong coalition.
This is your time. This is your time. We know, Kenyans know Kalonzo can be trusted. We are telling the rest of the Kenyans, as we have worked with him, we know the kind of person he is. Mheshimiwa Kalonzo ana midomo mbili, ako na mdomo moja. Akiongea kitu amefanya nini? Ameongea.
Sisi kama wanawaipa na Wakenya wote ambao wako katika Azimio, tumeamua na kauli moja. Na najua wale walikuwa Kenya Kwanza wanaitwa hustler.
You have indicated that the reason why prices of oil is going up is because of the war in Palestine and Israel, and we tell you that's a lie. Israel does not produce oil, does not produce gas, and the global prices of oil has reduced by 5.68%. And that is the reason why Tanzania, our neighbor, has reduced fuel prices. So you need to follow suit.
And thousands of delegates, among them policymakers, scientists and other players, are set to converge in Nairobi for the third session of the Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee to develop an international legally binding instrument on plastic pollution, including in the marine environment. Ahead of that summit, 2 reports have been launched by the Nordic Council of Ministers. Speaking in Nairobi, where he hosted journalists ahead of the summit, Finland's ambassador to Kenya, Pirkka Tapiola, noted that it is time for nations to act fully to achieve a plastic-free world. Plastic pollution is a planetary crisis with impacts on ecosystems, biodiversity, the climate, and human health. Without new and effective control measures, plastic production is set to double in 20 years, and plastic waste leaking into the ocean is projected to triple by 2040. The summit is scheduled to take place from the 13th to the 19th of November 2023 at the UN Environment Programme headquarters in Nairobi.
Now, this is important. It's not a political commitment. It's actually international law. Now, once you're going in that negotiation direction, once you're going forward with negotiations, you very often run the risk that people are trying to find just a negotiated solution. And these reports are really vital to get an understanding on what we're talking about. I think we need all to work together. You're a member of the press corps, George, and I think it's really important. That's why we do a press briefing as well, to keep the pressure out there and to explain to the public on why these things are that important. And I think that if we go in that direction, if we really take those commitments, if we have this conversation, then maybe we do get into that real action. And I can tell you, I've seen it happen. I go around Europe, many single-use products have disappeared, those which we took for granted. These are the important action points. Now, parts of the world are more advanced than others, parts are following slower, but if we get an international, legally binding baseline, then we can get I think everybody's ambition level up, and we can get a global ambition level.
Now, the Kenya Defence Forces, together with World War veterans, earlier today laid wreaths at the Memorial Cemetery here in Nairobi in remembrance of those who lost their lives in the line of duty. On Commonwealth Day, a service of remembrance is an annual event that honors the contribution made by the armed forces from Commonwealth countries spanning Africa, Asia, the Americas, Europe, and the Pacific during the First and Second World Wars.
Tekaisha tulirokota hiyo mizigo magari tukiweka kwa meli irudi Uingereza. Nilikuwa Kopro kuwa na kitu mbili hapo, na nilikuwa nazungumza Kiingereza, nilikuwa nimesoma.
Ninakumbuka vita ile nilipigana vita kutoka 1939 mpaka 1945. 1946 nikatoka Mbaba. Mwaka 13 mimi nilikuwa Seme. Mali ya Difoka nataka kupotea, mimi nagangana na ibaka, mimi narudisha mkono ya Difoka. Hata hii ni ya Difoka.
Ilikuwa kwa watu wanapiga vita
Kama ndio British nakumbuka watu ile alikuwa napiga vita.
So we stand here in the largest war grave site in East Africa, where nearly 2,000 people are buried who lost their lives in the Second World War. But in this ceremony we remembered all who died in conflict, all who've been affected by conflict. And it's just a chance to use this setting to remember that it's about real people.
Now, the U.S. ambassador to Kenya, Meg Whitman, has addressed the fallout following her remarks over the 2022 Kenyan election at the Devolution Conference in Eldoret earlier this year. Now, at the conference, Ambassador Whitman expressed that analysts and commentators have said that last year's election was the freest and the fairest in the history of the country, a statement that angered many, among them Azimio leader Raila Odinga. She addressed this during an exclusive interview with myself on her Say program yesterday. There's a statement you made at the Devolution Conference. Yes. You know what I'm talking about, yeah? Yes. And it rattles some quarters, among them Azimio leader, or the opposition leader Raila Odinga, who asked you to keep off Kenyan affairs. I mean, did you expect such backlash?
Well, as I said, I'm used to criticism. And what I said is many people have said this was the freest, fairest election in Kenyan history. And that happens to be true. Many people have said that. And I think Kenya should be proud of the fact that there wasn't violence associated with this election, that there was a peaceful transfer of power. And just like in the United States, there's people who think that's not how the election really went. But I think most people would probably agree that this was certainly a violent-free election and was a peaceful transfer of power. And that's important. You have to remember this presentation is for foreign investors. And foreign investors want to know that where they're going is stable. The last thing they want to do is be in the middle of something they didn't anticipate. So stability is an important part. And what that presentation I made at the Devolution Conference was effectively the same exact presentation that I made in America on our 4 different road shows.
Right. But then again, how did you deal with it, say, on a personal level? Because it did explode. I mean, it made the headlines. We saw the president, of course, defending you. How did you deal with it?
Well, to tell you the truth, I was surprised, because I didn't actually anticipate that, because I didn't think that what I said was particularly controversial. And then I understood that, you know, probably many people at that conference thought it was quite controversial. And so I said, you know what, we'll learn from this. If I had to do it again, would I say it slightly differently? I might.
How would you say it?
Well, you might just say that, I don't know, you know, I think you might just say that a lot of people did feel that this was an excellent election, which is kind of what I said. But, you know, I suppose I could have just not said anything at all, right? I could have just gone right into why Kenya. But I thought it was important. And again, it was the speech that I had given in America many times.
So is that a regret?
And no regrets at all. I think I did the right thing. I think I said what I believed, and that's okay too.
Right, that's a conversation we had yesterday with the ambassador herself, and you can find it on YouTube, okay? All right, let's move on. Now, Governor Kimani Wamatangi has downplayed the alleged ongoing tiff that has been brewing between his administration and his section of the county assembly members in Kiambu. Speaking in Githunguri during the inauguration ceremony of Githurai 45 Kimwi Boda Boda Welfare Association, which has 3,000 members, Wamatangi said he was working well with the county assembly, and where there are misunderstandings, he will use his experience of having served as a senator for 10 years to bring unity among all leaders. This comes days after Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua hosted the county leadership, including members of parliament, to address the infights after 16 out of 86 MCAs with the backing of some MPs threatened to impeach the governor.
Na wasiwasi, Kiambu tutafanya kazi. Kiambu tutafanya kazi. Mimi ni mzee, sio kijana. Nimekomaa sasa kisiasa. Na kwa hivyo wakati tunazungumza, hata mkisikia saa zingine kelele kidogo, mzee anajua kutuliza nyumba. Kaunti ya Kiambu tutafanya kazi. Msiwe na wasiwasi. Hawa watu wangu, hawa MCA, tutarudiana pamoja, tunapiga story, tuongee, tupange maendeleo ya Kiambu, na sisi wote tuende laini moja. Kana tu wadoi tu. Hivyo ndivyo ilivyo. Na kwa hivyo hapa mtu asiwe kama umeenda nyumbani ukifikiria kwamba Kiambu tutaendelea na hiyo vita.
Na mimi gavana, ningetaka nikuambie bila wasiwasi, sisi watu wa hapa Thika tunachouliza ni kazi. Sisi tunasema kama hapa Thika tunaunga gavana Kimani wa Mata. Kwa hivyo gavana, usikuwe na wasiwasi, tuko nyuma yako na kazi yako inatufurahisha na Mwenyezi Mungu akubariki.
Sisi tunafurahia hiyo miaka 10 ulikuwa senator, ile mambo yote ulikuwa unasema ukiwa senator, sasa tumeiona, si ndio?
And Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua will convene a meeting with leaders from Meru County in a bid to reconcile Governor Kawira Mwangaza with members of the County Assembly. The Deputy President on Sunday said he will be seeking to broker another truce after the failed impeachment attempt against Governor Mwangaza, who was reinstated to office by the Senate last week. Now, this will be the third time the Deputy President is reconciling the Meru leaders. This comes as a president... Let me take that again. This comes as a resident petitioned President William Ruto to dissolve the county government over the persistent wrangles. A number of members of county assemblies have also joined in the calls for dissolution of the county. Now, speaking in Embu, where he joined Christian faithfuls at St. Anthony Catholic Church in Dallas and Kianjakoma Full Gospel Churches in Runyenjes, the Deputy President said he will not give up in resolving leadership wrangles among feuding county leaders, adding it was his duty to ensure devolution is functioning.
Hata pale Meru kumekuwa na matatizo. Imeamuliwa pale kwa Senate. Nilikuwa pale mbele, nimewaita. Tukaelewana. Kukakuwa amani mwaka moja. Tena wakasosana tena, tukasema wangangane tuone vile itakuwa. Sasa si imekuwa vile imekuwa. Pia nitawaita tena, hiyo ndio kazi yangu. Niite gavana, niite wabunge, niite MCAs, nijaribu kuwarudisha pamoja kwa sababu Meru County is also very important to administration. Pale katika Kericho ambaye ni backyard yetu pia. Governor, deputy walikuwa nasosana, nikawaketisha na MCA, pale iko amani, maendeleo inaendelea. Hapa Kiambu, governor, MCAs, wabunge walikuwa nasosana, nimewaketisha, tumesikizana, tumepata amani. Kwa hivyo mimi nataka viongozi wa Embu, tafadhali msitake nimuite kuunganisha nyinyi. Mkuje mambo ya maendeleo peke yake. Nyinyi wenyewe mjipange, mkuwe na amani. Ndio mkija kwangu tutumie nafasi hiyo kusukuma barabara, kusukuma maji, kusukuma mambo ya maendeleo. Si mungetaka namna hiyo?
Now, as the country continues to experience heavy downpour, the Mombasa County leadership has come up with mitigation measures dubbed Mombasa County Climate Action Plan 2023 to 2050 to help curb future catastrophes. Now, this is in partnership with the World Bank Group that will see lasting solutions offered for key climate-related hazards across the county. Among the sectors is drought, flooding, sea level rise, extreme heat, and landslides. Now, speaking during the launch of Mombasa County Climate Action Plan, Deputy Governor Francis Thoyer has urged the stakeholders to keep the community at the center of the plan so as to see its success.
And team not to make the mistake ya kuchukua ownership of this action plan. The action plan must be owned by the community if we are to succeed. We must bring the community at the center of this action plan. Lao tutafanya mistake tuseme hii action plan ni ya county, wananchi watajitoa watakaa kando, watasema hiyo ni ya county. Then we'll have problems.
Part of that is also to help counties, cities and municipalities to be more resilient to climate shocks. In terms of investing also in adaptation abilities, things like reducing flooding. And we also see that what we saw yesterday on the mangroves development program, it's a very good program in terms of helping with coastal erosion and also an aspect that is essentially the lungs of the city, right? In terms of helping promote greenery, etc.
In the past, we've already received increased precipitation, we've had landslides, and unfortunately we've lost lives and property. And therefore this plan just illustrates the key priority projects in different sectors that have been identified as key emitters in terms of our carbon footprint. So we have identified waste, transport, industries, tourism, and there are several measures that we can take as a county to mitigate and build city resilience.
Ieleweke kwa washikadau, kila mtu na responsibility yake. Wajibu wa mtu mlemavu katika kuboresha hali ya hewa iko vipi?
The news that matters the most is the one that hits close to home. When disasters strike, we are there to inform you. When the bullets are flying, we tell you who's shooting and why. Reporting on your victories, your health, your money, your security, your past, present, and future. We are interested in telling the stories of creativity, hard work, and resilience that you are known for.
That is our job. This is my job. My name is Victor Moyakane, and it's my honor to bring you this news this way every Thursday night on the Home of Untold Stories.
Katika majengo haya, hapa ndipo sheria zinapotungwa na zinapopakuliwa. Nitakuletea viongozi mbalimbali, mirengo mbalimbali, wote kwa pamoja wakipika na kupakua. Tutawapa nafasi kuweza kuangazia changamoto na mafanikio ya ugatuzi katika ukumbi wa siasa kila siku ya Jumanne kuanzia saa 1 kamili na kuendelea.
Toka eneo hili la Naivasha kwenye kaunti 032, gatuzi la Nakuru.
Toka kaunti ya Elgeyo Marakwet, kaunti 028.
Nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Wajir.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Turukana. Kwa matukio yote yanayojiri katika kaunti hii 012.
Kutoka kaunti nambari 1, kaunti ya Mombasa.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Lamu.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka Kisii County.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Machakos.
Kutoka kaunti hii ya Trans Nzoia.
Kaunti 038.
Kutoka gatuzi nambari 029, kaunti ya Nandi, chemichemi ya mabingwa.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Kakamega.
Itakuwa nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Bungoma.
Jina langu ni Paula Munio.
Willy Dennis Jiru.
Fabian Kibet.
Mimi ni Hashim Jimal.
Mimi ni Kitio Mika Masai. John Javakiania.
Jina langu ni Abdulaziz Nameka.
Mimi ni Kombo Alfayo.
Jina langu ni Nicholas Mbai.
Isaac Famba.
Mimi ni Wanji Sosti.
Jina langu ni Arnold Adidi.
Jina langu ni Chris Bet.
Jina langu ni Violet Auma.
Na TV47 inapotamba, mimi Sheila Chelangat nitakuwa nikiripotia maswala yanayokuhusu wewe kila kuchao. Every Thursday 7:30 p.m. unapata nafasi kufahamu viongozi mbalimbali kutoka humu nchini, kuanzia wabunge.
Through Changa we could get money to pay our rent, to pay our bills.
When I was growing up, water was a problem where I was born and bred. We wake up at 3 to go and look for water.
Magavana
must be ready to be a tough woman and not a woman to be walked over.
Kwa hivyo
you respect people.
Dari ya mfahamu kiongozi, story na historia, na mi Elizabeth Muchuku.
kwa mirindimo kemkem ya michezo, mahojiano ya kipekee na mabingwa wetu, makala ya kuvutia pamoja na matukio mubashara viwanjani. Shabiki, tutapiga mbizi katika kila kiwanja, ndani na hata nje ya nchi. Mtazamaji, uko tayari? Ni kazi michezoni ama michezo kazini? Ungana nami Ahmed Bahaj, sajili mpya nimefika katika kipindi cha kipekee Mchaka Mchaka. Zitatoka cheche, tutapiga mstari chini yake. Si bora michezo, ni michezo kwa ubora wake. Mcheche.
They say money makes the world go round. So let's slow things down a bit. Put things in perspective. From the markets to the streets to the stocks, we make the complex comprehensible. Join me, Hibak Said, on TV47 Business News for market insights like never before.
What's making the headlines? What does it mean to you? How does it affect you? We answer all these questions every Sunday for half an hour on To The Point Show. Hey, I'm Grace Kuriakanja, and a lot has happened this week. Let's dive into it.
Wanasema wasemao kuwa elimu ni bahari haishi kwa kuchotwa. Wakati mwingi natangamana na wanafunzi madarasani, sio kama mwalimu bali kama nahodha kwenye kipindi cha tasnia ya elimu. Na iwapo utanikosa madarasani, basi utanipata nyanjani nikisaka habari zenye usawa, ufasaha na ukweli. Na iwapo utanikosa nyanjani, bila shaka utanipata studioni hapa nikisoma habari na kuendesha mijadala mikomavu. Mimi ni Andrin Kilemi, mpenzi wa lugha ya Kiswahili na elimu kwa jumla.
Well, if it is happening, then we are definitely talking about it on TV47's Disruptive Friday. Don't miss a moment on the most technological and disruptive moment on TV.
From groundbreaking AI breakthroughs to the latest ingenious innovations, we have it all covered for you. Get ready to see the future unfold right in front of your eyes. My name is Eric Munene.
And my name is Linda Alala, and we not promise nothing short of great news experience.
The thing about coffee is it means different things to different people.
To some, it is what gets them going every day. The ability to transform groggy mornings into vibrant beginnings.
To others, it is a fuel that drives them through the day. The thing about coffee is that we like it differently. I love mine with a little bit of a sweetener.
And I love mine strong.
For me, the darker, the better.
The thing about coffee is it gives a platform for sharing news and reviews.
The best opportunity for a great conversation.
It is the perfect way to kickstart your day. And here, we serve it hot.
Let Kids on the Block take you to the most fantastic place on television. Where anything can happen.
Today I have an interesting story about the lion and the mouse.
Today we are going to prepare mug cake.
We are having Hilda. We're going to be making this worm and it's a bookmark.
Catch Kids on the Block every Saturday at 9 a.m.
We are all facing the high cost of living, and we all have bills to pay, from school fees, rent, electricity, and even more importantly, getting that business permit. Well, here at The Grind, we give you the opportunity to grind together with us. Every Monday, join me, Violet Joki, at 6:30 p.m. as we delve into the world of business.
Thank you so much for staying with us. Time now for To The Point. And tonight on To The Point, we break down, oh, it's not here yet. We break down Movember. Here it is, okay? Now, listen, in case you think I got the spelling wrong, I'm not wrong, or the pronunciation wrong, I'm not wrong, or the editor didn't notice my mistake. That's not the case, because I'll have you know that according to Wikipedia, now Movember is a portmanteau word or a combination word from mustache and November, okay? So the Mo and the Vember creates Movember, okay? So Movember 2023 is also known as the Men's Health Awareness Month, which is an annual global campaign that encourages men to grow their mustaches and participate in various activities to raise awareness about men's health issues. Now, this event focuses on promoting physical and mental well-being among men, addressing issues such as prostate cancer, mental health challenges, and suicide prevention. And I want us to take a pause there, because this is where I engage my guests who are with me in studio. Mr. Alex Mwakideu, a media personality actually here at Radio 47 and an advocate of prostate cancer awareness. Karibu sana, Mr. Mwakideu. And of course, Dr. Julius Kimani, who is a relationship expert and a marriage counselor. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Now, I need to mention that we are expecting Dr. Edward Sang, an oncologist, and Eric Amunga, alias Amerix. He is a men's health and wellness advocate. They shall join us, you know, but we carry on with the conversation regardless. So, straight on. Gentlemen, I don't know who's going to go first. You choose between the two of you. How have we been observing this month? We're growing any mustaches? I see the two of you. Is it intentional?
Well, for me, actually, I had a beard, you know. But there's a project we are doing. We are shooting. That's why I had to shave. But November is all about keeping your beard and all that. So for me, this is not my look. This is a part I'm acting in this new project that will be coming out probably next week. But yeah, this is our month, and I'm glad you called me here. I'm grateful for this opportunity. And yeah, we are ready. Let's talk men issues.
Right.
Yeah.
But the mustache, they let you keep it.
Yeah, they did.
Still on.
They did. Yeah, it's still on.
Dr. Julius, is this intentional?
No, but of course, I've always enjoyed the mustache for the longest time possible.
And of course, now being November, then I think I will be more intentional on doing it. So I'm also grateful for the opportunity, because men somehow, I think we are the neglected people in a way or another. We either neglect ourselves or we are neglected because we are assumed to be strong. And so I appreciate this conversation, because I think there are men watching and we represent them.
Most definitely.
Yes.
And I want you to expound that bit of we are assumed to be strong. I want you to expound.
Of course, the traditional role of a man is expected that he should be strong, he should be a provider. And of course, we are looking, even in our nation, the challenge of a man being able to provide is actually more now than ever before. And of course, due to that role that you're expected to provide, even when a man is lacking, he finds it hard to reach out for help from other people. He would rather maybe go to a bank and ask for a loan and even ask from his wife. And maybe the wife has the money. Or maybe some colleagues who are ladies have money, but he finds it harder. And so that kind of an expectation that a man has to be strong makes it even harder for us men to seek for help. And I think that's why we need also to demystify that issue, so that we can be able to be real men, where we can talk real issues and we can be able to see how do we help each other.
Most definitely.
Yes.
Well, I think just to comment on the same thing is, you know me, I like the Bible. And I like to give a lot of examples from the Bible. And you know, I haven't read the Bible so well, but from the beginning, the story that we know is that when God created the world, the universe and everything, he created Adam, right? After he created Adam, the story that follows there is that, and you're a Christian and you know that, the story that follows there is that God saw that Adam was bored, was alone, lonely, something around that, yeah? That he was lonely, but he was probably like done with the creation. But just because Adam was lonely, you know, then he said, let me create Eve, so that Eve can be good company too. So Eve is just company. So, you know, just to answer that question, is that a woman comes in as company, you know, just to keep you, as a partner to keep you going. But your duties are still the same. As a man, you know, that duty of providing, being a man, hustling, going out, waking up, it will never end. There is no way it will end. You know, these days, at least, there is this thing about empowering women that is really big, and I love it. You know, women now are empowered, they're working, they're doing good job everywhere, but that does not make you relax as a man, you know. So mwanamume ni kazi na kazi ni kazi juu ya kazi tu.
Okay, and now
na hakuna kutoroka.
Sasa Mr. Makidogo, sababu ume bring that up, I actually had it uko at the tail end because I wanted us to focus on this before. Lakini wacha to speak about it. Finances, yeah? Because there is the whole argument of, especially when your spouse is earning more than you do. And most men are actually intimidated by that. And most men are actually very bold and would say that my spouse can never earn more than I do. But nowadays, times, you know, changed, days changed, things changed, and women earn more than men sometimes. Your wife could earn more than you. How is that for you?
No, the issue about that is that, you know, your money is your money as a man. Okay? What you earn is what you earn, and that belongs to you and your family. You do not ever think about what your wife earns. That does not matter. Whether they earn 100,000 and you earn 20,000, your budget should be around 20,000. You know, you are home and everything you think about should be around 20,000, because that's what you have as the provider of that family, as a man. That's what you have, and that's what you imagine that your family has.
Why can't you 120?
Yeah?
Why can't you consider the whole 120?
Unless you work hard and get 120. Unless you work hard and get 120.
100 from the woman and 20 from you. You're saying we should consider the 20K, yeah? That the man earns. Why can't we just look at the whole 120? Why can't we consolidate the money?
That's where the problem comes in. Once you start considering that the woman is earning 100,000 and you think that 100,000 that comes from the woman belongs to you or the family, that's where the whole problem starts.
What problem?
Hapo shida inaanzia.
Again.
Oh my goodness. You will be fighting throughout. You know, the best way to do it is to work hard and get to 150. work hard and get to 150. Find a way to get to 150. If you can't, you know that you always have 20,000.
Are you and Amerix on the same page? Because I hope he joins us, but there's a tweet from him, Juicy too, on October 14th, and he was like, at no point should your woman earn more than you. If she's a surgeon earning 500,000, yet you're a plumber, you should earn 1.5. Or as a plumber, build a surgical hospital and employ her. Earning less than her is suicidal. That's him. And of course, I'm quoting him because he should be on this panel. Dr. Julius, do you agree? I actually disagree. I don't know if I'm allowed, Victor, am I allowed to say what I think? But I disagree.
No, I think, and that's the thing that is killing men. Because yes, you have put it very well that a woman was a company, but he said, let us make a help meet a helper. So this woman is supposed to help you. Now, if you don't accept the help from a woman, then you're destroying yourself, because God intended that woman to help you in some issues. Not, of course, to take the leading role, but of course to assist you. So I would not say that her money will be her money. Because if she's going to help me, there are times she can chip in. I will not go for it 100% and say, I need your money. But I think a person, you see, when I look at the word help, even biblically, it says it is somebody who is of equal strength with you, or somebody who is probably stronger than you. Because if I'm picking this seat, I will not ask somebody who is not strong enough to pick the seat with me. It has to be somebody of equal strength or somebody who is the same, whatever. And that is what is happening with the traditional role.
I'm banning. I need to say this. When we were having our marriage counseling sessions, that's what we were told, my husband and I, that for you to be a helper, you are probably even stronger than the person you're helping.
And that's the reality is, and I'm saying, that is the traditional masculine role, which is, as he says, is a very good thing. It is important for you to be the head. And I usually say, if you are, as he has said, if your woman is earning 100 and you're earning 20, God is trying to tell you, you can earn 120. It doesn't mean that you remain there.
Yeah.
So work hard to get there. But accept the help of this woman in taking you some places. There are some guys I've met in counseling.
But let me ask
and they say, God, there are some guys I've sat with in counseling, and they are like, I used to be this and that, very low, but my wife assisted me and pushed me to become even greater than her. But if that guy refused to accept the help of a woman, let me tell you, some of the guys will be dying trying to make that 120, while it's came from 20 because of receiving the help. Mm-hmm. So my challenge is to have a very creative balance in this thing. Mm-hmm. Know how to accept, but also don't be a wimp. Usikae chini pale tunasema tu sasa utategemea bibi. Fanya kazi.
Kabisa.
So now when who was given the duty of taking care of the world?
Let me tell you, when God said, let us make man in our own image, it was the male and the female. So we can't neglect out the women in taking the duty of the world. Now look today, my bro, and I know you're a hardworking man, but look at this world today. There are so many women who are unmarried because maybe the men took off, they didn't take responsibility, and they are still driving the world because they have taken the role. So what I would say is that the woman was meant to be a helper. So you are supposed to be the spearhead, you're supposed to be in front there. But
now what kind of help?
Don't die trying to prove manhood.
But who is the provider in the house?
Okay, let's
who is the provider in the house?
We're gonna remain stuck here. Let's move on. Let's move on. Sindio. And I know Manu, Mr. Inonda, you won't like this, but I want Dr. Sang to just join us. It's okay. Just join us, sir, on set, because this next one, I would like you, anywhere you want to sit is fine, Doc, but make sure you can see the screen, okay? The other side, please. The other seat with Dr. Julius.
Yes, this is...
so that you're able to see the screen. And Doc, I've called you in because we just started. You haven't missed out on it, but you have actually. The banter between the two was really interesting, but it's okay. Let's move on. So this day, this month rather, November, we address these issues: prostate cancer, testicular cancer, mental health challenges, and suicide prevention. How important is it that on this month, November and Movember by extension, we are addressing these, especially prostate cancer, in your capacity as an oncologist?
Yeah. Well, cancer, if it's found early, is easy to treat and can be cured. But if it is found late, then that's where the problem comes in. So usually when we have awareness like this, then we can have people go for testing. We can pick those who have early signs of cancer, and that is easier to treat. And not only prostate cancer, we have colon cancer, stomach cancer, and other cancers which can be picked early. We can also pick other things like high blood pressure, diabetes, and all those which can affect somebody's health.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And I started by asking the two gentlemen about their mustache, which I see you also have. Is it intentional? Is it because it's November? Tell us.
No, that's just what I do.
Oh, great. Yeah. Okay, all right. So let's move on, guys, with to the point. And of course, Movember provides a platform for men to discuss their health openly, seek support, and take proactive steps towards a healthier and happy life. Now, our next slide. Movember is celebrated throughout the month of November each year, like you know already, because I have said it a million times. And in 2023, men from around the world will unite to participate in Movember, starting on November the 1st until November the 30th. That is the end of this month. Now, let's take a look at matters still on men's health and wellness under Movember. And surveys from around the world find that males everywhere are reluctant to talk about their mental health and are more likely to die by suicide than females. Now, the situation becomes worse when it is a man who is facing a mental illness. Statements like "men don't cry" and "a man has to be strong" are often used when referring to society's expectation that men should be stoic in the face of adversity. And I want us to pause there again, Mr. Inonda, because you three gentlemen need to react. Men don't cry. Have you cried in front of your wife?
Well, I think I have cried once. I think once in my life.
Why?
There was a time I cried. Yes, there was a time I cried. I lost my mom in 2019. The cancer too. Then also my sister, Amy, same year, to cancer. So that's why cancer to me is a serious issue.
Right.
And that's why I'm really advocating for men to go for that early test. But yeah, in 2019, that's the time I cried. I cried when my sister was in another country in Europe, and she was struggling to cancer, and she could not even talk, and I was on a call with her, and she could not even respond. That to me, made me cry at that particular time, I got into my car, locked the car completely. It's a tinted car, and I cried inside.
But my question, sir, was whether you did it in front of your wife.
No, I was alone. Why? I've never cried in front of people.
Why?
Because men don't cry.
That's what I don't want
to be honest, I've never cried in front of people.
Why?
I was at some bar in Langata, to be honest. When I made the call, I was standing somewhere far away. Then I got so emotional. Nikaangalia watu nikasema hapa hapana. Kaingia kwa gari immediately. Lock myself in, AC, tint car, and I cried.
Oh, goodness. But why? Honestly,
because men don't.
You haven't answered. That's the
Hawezi
answer.
kulia tu.
Men don't.
Hawezi tu kulia. Are you getting? You can't just cry. Even when my mom passed on, even my wife would tell you, she didn't see me crying anywhere. You know, I was just there. I was just there trying to organize everything.
I'll cry when I'm stressed at work. I'll go home and cry. When whatever happens, I'll cry.
That's the only time I remember myself crying, to be very honest. That's in my entire life.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Dr. Sang, I know you're here as an oncologist, but you're also a man. So we have to speak to this. Do you also think that men should not show weakness? They should not cry in front of their ladies and everyone else?
I think, especially if there's an issue, trying to hide it in or hold it in does cause problems. And so you might not be comfortable to cry in front of others, but there must be a place where you're comfortable.
But your wife?
That's not a problem. And
would you do it?
Definitely. And even with...
Have you done it?
Yes. Even if I'm watching a sad movie...
Really?
I can shed tears, but...
okay.
When you're watching a movie?
Yeah, if it's a very sad movie, I can find myself...
Okay, no, we're not laughing at you. We're laughing at you.
But I feel, especially with the suicide and mental health, we've lost colleagues even to mental health, to suicide. And so you always wonder, could there be something we could have done? Was there some signs that we missed? And so I think allowing somebody to be free and to be able to talk and to express their problems, I think that helps, so that we don't lose somebody because maybe they felt they were not able to be open enough in front of other people.
Right.
Yeah.
Dr. Julius, has Dr. Jane seen you cry?
No. Ajaiona. Let me tell you, she's the same thing.
You to say yes.
Imagine ajaiona.
Kwa nini?
Hiyo, unaona hiyo kitu? Ya men don't cry. I have cried, yes. And
sasa, si wewe ndo unatuambia mtu ni helper. You know, mwenye ukiwa na issues unafaa ukuje kwake, umwambie kunaenda hivi na hivi babe, unamlilia, anakupanguza machozi. That's how it should be.
My God, hiyo kitu ni ngumu. In fact, wanaume, El Nino is helping a lot. You see, because the only place now tears, unatoa machozi kwa barabara, lakini they think it is rain. And that is the reality of life. And unless we change, like the way Doctor is saying here, where you change the narrative and you tell, I remember, like what he's saying, I remember losing my brother to suicide. And I could see my dad holding strong. And I remember holding his shoulders, and I told him, it shall be okay. And that is the first time I ever saw my dad shed tears. And I remember I joined him because I could feel the pain. Of course, it's not the crying, ile iko serious, bado najaribu kuwa strong. But I remember my daughter looking at me, and I know she was looking at how I would react. And she was also holding strong. My son was holding strong. But eventually, when they saw tears in my eye, they were able also to say they are feeling sad. So I think it is important to allow sometimes to be seen as human. But we have to come out of that closet. Ni ngumu. Let me tell you, Grace, hiki tu ni ngumu. Crying is not easy. The only thing that sometimes that made me feel like, you know, even after crying, you feel like I should not have done that. But when I read the scripture and I see that Jesus wept, unajua kwanza kuweep ni ile unatoa machozi. And I think that's why our Luo brothers live longer. Because for them they weep, even when they weep. So if God wept, this man called Jesus Christ wept, I think it is normal.
You know,
but ni ngumu.
Like me, myself, I never saw my dad crying at any given point in my life growing up. I never saw him crying. Now forget about crying. I never even saw, to be very honest, my dad going to the toilet. You know, I didn't even see him going to the toilet. I'm being very honest. It's not that this is a man I would see walking in from work, anakuja anatuangalia, you know, he says hi, he's in charge. You know, after that, he goes to bed. Paka nilikuwa nashangaa, you know, growing up now, I'm a grown up, I'm thinking, Umuda alikuwa enda talu kwani? Alikuwa enda talu wapi ama sangapi? You know, those are, wale wazee, they used to wake up very early in the morning, I believe. Now that I'm a grown up, because I'm the last born at home, so he was an old man. So now that I've grown, na mimi alikuwa anaenda asubuhi, so that nobody sees him. You get, as in even that. So that's how
this new generation of fathers are you changing that? I believe it's happening, but for you, for instance, have you changed that such that hata mzae haonekani, anatoka asubuhi 5, anaingia midnight yenye kila mtu amelala, like you say you didn't even see him go to the loo. Are you changing that in you?
I'm changing it completely. I am changing it. I'm definitely, I can't live the way he lived his life. I'm changing everything, but just that bit of crying is where I'm still struggling. Maybe one day.
Are you working on it? Is she, okay, I don't know if I have mentioned this with your wife. Is she going to see you cry someday?
I don't know. Maybe she will.
You know, by the way, you don't cry tears of sadness kila time. Ata tears of joy mwa kidogo. Kitu poe kiku happiness, you just go cry kidogo.
Wallahi, ata sometimes natamani. There are moments when you feel like, now this is the moment for me to cry. You know, I should be crying now, but, you know, inakata kabisa.
Sawa. Okay, let's move on because I know we are due for a break in about 2 minutes, right, Inanda? But, Sindo? Okay, in about 2 minutes out. Let's just move on. And according to the World Health Organization, that is WHO, males die by suicide at twice the rate of females. Let me take that again. Let me take it again, Manu. Males die by suicide at twice the rate of females, and high-income countries have the highest suicide rates among the males. Now, this next slide is on statistics from the United States, where males make up nearly 80% of all deaths by suicide. This is a report by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC. And of course, males die by suicide 4 times more often than females do. And that is in the United States. We shall get to Kenya. We always have statistics from home. But a quick reaction to these stats, that it's not just here in Kenya, it's not in Africa, it's beyond, it's global. Before we take a break, I think 30 seconds each. Doc, you go first.
Oh yeah, so I remember some family friend in Germany had to go for surgery, and the doctor told her, I'm going on holiday, when I come back I'll do the operation. When she went for the checkup, she was told the doctor jumped off a building and died. And so for me it was quite shocking that in a country like that, where we feel we all want to be or to emulate, somebody could also die by suicide. So I think those statistics do show us that it happens also there. I know Japan, it's quite common. And so it's probably something we need to understand.
Right. Yeah. Dr. Julius?
Actually, it's very real. I think last week I was in somewhere and they were saying that 4 guys from the same village have committed suicide. And the reason, you find women attempt suicide more than men. But men die from suicide because they usually take crazy and more dangerous things. They'll shoot themselves, they'll jump off a bridge, they will jump on a road. So that happens. And I think it's something that we need to look deeper and ask ourselves, how can we prevent this thing?
Yeah, I think being a radio presenter, of course, every day I read these stories. Actually, I know the story you're talking about. There were 4 men from the same village. One was 60 years. The other one, I think, was 48 years. The other one around 50, a sub-chief. You know, people just committing suicide from the same place, I think, around central Kenya. One of the biggest things I've always said and I've always told my listeners is that as a man, you need to find people around you, a family, a small family of men where you talk to. You know, I think the biggest problem is people don't talk. You just don't talk. You're quiet by yourself. Ukianza kuna mtu ameanza kwa peke yake, kimya kimya. Before you know it, there's a story.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take a break at this point. We shall definitely come back with more on To The Point and more with my guests. But let's take that break. Stay with us.
The news that matters the most is the one that hits close to home. When disasters strike, we are there to inform you. When the bullets are flying, we tell you who's shooting and why. Reporting on your victories, your health, your money, your security, your past, present, and future. We are interested in telling the stories of creativity, hard work, and resilience that you are known for. That is our job. This is my job. My name is Victor Moyakane, and it's my honor to bring you this news this way every Thursday night on the Home of Untold Stories.
Katika majengo haya, hapa ndipo sheria zinapotungwa na zinapopakuliwa. Nitakuletea viongozi mbalimbali, mirengo mbalimbali, wote kwa pamoja wakipika na kupakua. Tutawapa nafasi kuweza kuangazia changamoto na mafanikio ya ugatuzi katika ukumbi wa siasa kila siku ya Jumanne kuanzia saa 1 kamili na kuendelea.
Toka eneo hili la Naivasha kwenye kaunti 032, gatuzi la Nakuru.
Toka kaunti ya Elgeyo Marakwet, kaunti 028.
Nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Wajir.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Turukana.
Kwa matukio yote yanayojiri katika kaunti hii 012.
Kutoka kaunti nambari 1, kaunti ya Mombasa.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Lamu.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka Kisii County.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Machakos.
Kutoka kaunti hii ya Trans Nzoia.
Kaunti 038.
Kutoka gatuzi nambari 029, kaunti ya Nandi, chemichemi ya mabingwa.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Kakamega.
Itakuwa nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Bungoma.
Jina langu ni Paula Munio.
Willy Dennis Jiru.
Fabian Kibet.
Mimi ni Hashim Jimal.
Mimi ni Kitio Mika Masai.
John Javakiania.
Jina langu ni Abdulaziz Nameka.
Mimi ni Kombo Alfayo.
Jina langu ni Nicholas Mbai.
Isaac Famba.
Mimi ni Wanji Sosti.
Jina langu ni Arnold Adidi.
Jina langu ni Chris Bet.
Jina langu ni Violet Auma.
Na TV47 inapotamba, mimi Sheila Chelangat nitakuwa nikiripotia maswala yanayokuhusu wewe kila kuchao. Every Thursday 7:30 p.m. unapata
All right, thank you so much for staying with us. Such a heated conversation here in studio and elsewhere. I won't say where, but trust me, it is. We appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate your feedback. If we get time, we'll sample it at the tail end of this broadcast, okay? Let's move on, and we are now going to take a look at some statistics from home in Kenya, where Kenya National Bureau of Statistics released a report in November last year, which showed that more Kenyan, I'm panting. Okay, more Kenyan men than women rather have mental disorders. Also, according to the Women and Men in Kenya Facts and Figures 2022 report, 43.1% of women were suffering from mental disorders as compared to 56.9% of men, okay? I assume our reactions to this would be like the ones we had prior to these from the statistics in the US. So allow us to move on and switch gears now and talk about prostate cancer, because like I said, this is one of the issues that are being addressed in this month, or this whole event of November, remember, okay? So prostate is a cancer that occurs in the prostate, of course. So listen, prostate cancer is one of the most common types of cancer in men. Many prostate cancers grow slowly and are confined to the prostate gland, where they may not cause serious harm. However, while some types of prostate cancer grow slowly and may need minimal or even no treatment, other types are aggressive and can spread quickly. Let's pause there, Mr. Inonde, because I want Dr. Sang to tell me if I'm right.
Yeah. Prostate cancer is the commonest, among the commonest in men, and it can be found early and treatable, but also can be very aggressive and causes a lot of death in Kenyan men. Yeah. So screening is important, and it's one of the checks that we advise men to go, especially over 40. There's a blood test a man can do, and if that test shows that the feature or signs of prostate cancer, then they can undergo more tests like MRI of the prostate and examination by a specialist to see if there's cancer.
Mm-hmm. All right. And we, the men here, have we had this screening? Is it a personal question? Am I intrigued?
No, it's not personal. Don't worry.
It's okay to ask.
Well, for me, I haven't, to be honest.
You haven't?
I haven't. Mm-hmm. I haven't been tested. But getting tested this coming weekend. Are you getting? This coming weekend, because I'm doing it with a community where I live. So I want to do it with a community. I've invited people who come to test where you are. So it's like he's saying, now you can just taste with your blood, you know? Yeah, I'm one of those men, to be honest, who had a problem with the way we used to get tested before. Yeah, and I really didn't want to go through that. And I was really hoping and praying that one day we'll get another way, a different way of getting tested for prostate cancer. So I'm lucky that today there is this other new way. So for me, I said, I'll get tested, but I want to test with the community where I live, the estate where we live. I've already shared the information with everyone, and the guys are coming on next weekend to do the test. So I will be testing, yeah.
Right. And Dr. Sang will tell us the method that was used kitambo, but why were you not comfortable, if I may ask?
Why
were you not comfortable testing using the old method or the old?
Daktari atakwambia hapa my dear. Daktari atakwambia wazi bwana kama it was uncomfortable. It was just uncomfortable. I mean the whole, just hearing it. Ni kusikia tu wacha kwenda, kusikia tu like hapana bana. Kama ni hivyo acha ikae bana. Kama ni hivyo acha ikae bana. Hapana. I didn't want that to happen to me. I didn't want that to happen to me at all. It has never happened. Unbeaten haijai kuvunjwa. So hapana bwana.
Which method?
Hapana bwana, hapana.
So
amekataa.
The way it was tested before is by a rectal exam, it's called digital rectal exam, where a finger is put into the anus, and then the doctor can actually feel if the prostate is enlarged. And also by that examination can feel if it looks, there's what is called benign enlargement, which is not cancerous, and then there's the cancerous enlargement, which they can feel by just that examination. And as he said, yes, it's a lot of people who are quite uncomfortable with that. But now there's a blood test, which can be done every 2 years or so, from about the age of 40. And that trend of the results can be followed, so that if it rises one time, then at least the doctor can do other tests to see if there's signs of prostate cancer.
Right. Dr. Julius, have you had this training yet?
I think I'm like him. I have never had, when you sit with a doctor and they tell you what they're going to do, you're like, you feel like something that is not you. And it's not only scaring, but I think you feel like you're not ready for it. But I'm so glad that there's this test. Now you can be able to go and do that. And of course, second is that there's always a fear. With most of, sometimes we don't express our fears. You're like, what if I go and find I have it? What do I do? Okay. And of course, the best thing is the doctor says the earlier the better to be discovered, because treatment is available, than finding it later. And also there is also that aspect of not understanding. When people hear prostate, they don't even understand what prostate is. I think there is a lot of information that needs to be divulged so people can know where the prostate is exactly and how it is, so that they are not afraid. Because some men, you tell them prostate, they think it is the entire system there that is maybe have a problem. So they always...
And actually, Dr. Sang, do you want to answer that right
now? Actually, he's raised a very important point we get with clients saying, I'd rather not know. If it's there, I'd rather not know that it's there. So we need to encourage clients to come and be tested, because in the majority, it's not there. And so, especially when you start at 40, for example, you can pick it very early. But the other point was...
some not knowing where it is.
Oh, yes,
located.
exactly. So education. Education is extremely important. What is the prostate? What does it do?
So what is it? And what
well,
is
it's a gland, and it's within the reproductive system of the male. And so the urethra, where the urine comes out, and also where the sperms come out, it goes through the prostate. And the prostate produces some liquid which is included in the semen. So the semen has sperms and other solutions which combine to form part of the semen. And so if it's again not working properly, then there'll be issues with fertility. But now the problem is as a man gets older, some of them have enlargement of the prostate, so that some of them have problems passing urine, and that at times needs surgery. But the problem now is that some of them now develop cancer, and that's a cancer which can spread and of course cause death.
All right, and we shall get to talk more about prostate cancer, but let's move on. So the next slide is actually on screening, which is what we have been talking about. So the uptake of prostate cancer screening is low in Kenya, and that is according to Journal of Cancer Policy. A national prostate cancer screening advocacy program needs to be implemented to sensitize men to get screened, which is pretty much what we have been saying. So let's take a look at some quotes from our very own Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua on prostate cancer. So last month, that was in October, he said, as we raise awareness on testing and treatment of breast cancer this month. That's why I said it was October, because remember, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Screening has been seen to contribute to reducing mortality between 25% and 39% over the last decade. That is DP Rigathi Gachagua. Another quote from him: while we are registering such progress, we note that 1 in every 9 men in sub-Saharan Africa, Kenya included, is a potential candidate for prostate cancer. That again is DP Gachagua, who also said that raising awareness will also inform timely interventions to save lives. And at this point, I want us to talk more on prostate cancer, and more, Dr. Sang, would be the causes, the prevention, the treatment. I don't know how you're going to do all that in, say, 4 minutes?
Well, prostate cancer is a cancer like many other cancers where there are risk factors. Genetics plays a role. So if a male relative, your father or an uncle had prostate cancer, you're at risk. Then other things like smoking and alcohol contributes. There is one, they say again, when a man ejaculates, the more a man ejaculates, the less the risk of prostate.
Is that true?
Cancer, yes.
It's not a myth.
It's not a myth. It's true.
Let me repeat. I think.
And actually, this I was told.
No, just take it again.
Yeah, I was told.
Not me, but some people think it's a myth.
Yeah. Now I was told by a urology colleague, actually, is a friend of mine, because we were discussing prostate cancer, and he told me that the blood test is extremely important, and he told me that ejaculation does reduce the risk of prostate cancer. And he actually did raise an alarm about the rates of prostate cancer in this country, that they're extremely high. And
do we have some numbers? What are the numbers like?
I think he was saying like 1 in 4 to 8. So I think Gachagua said 1 to 9 in Africa. But he was saying actually...
In Kenya, actually.
Yeah. So he was saying it between 4 to 8 men. So in other words, almost a quarter to 1/8 of men will die of prostate cancer, which is extremely alarming.
The prevention?
Prevention now is the testing. Frequent checkups actually does pick a lot of
lifestyle, for instance. Is there anything? Exercise? I don't know. This thing?
Well, of course, now smoking does contribute to a lot of cancers, alcohol, and so reduction in those. But otherwise, the screening is the most important factor.
How about the treatment?
Treatment now depends on the stage. So if it is found early, surgery can be done. And now we have quite a lot of doctors in Kenya doing those operations. If it's late means it could have spread to the bones, to the lungs, to the liver, then now mainly chemotherapy. Sometimes they do surgery just to allow the urine, somebody to pass urine, because it has blocked the urethra. But mainly now radiotherapy and chemotherapy would come in for the more advanced stages.
How about prostatectomy?
Yes, so prostatectomy is now the removal of the prostate, but that is only if it's an early stage, meaning it's confined, so you can remove all of it. But now if it has left the prostate and gone further away, then that surgery alone would not remove everything. So you'll remove the prostate, but you'll leave some tumor either in the lymph nodes or in the bones, which would need further treatment.
And there's a question that is intertwined to that, which I guess I already have the answer. Can one live without a prostate?
Yes.
Most definitely they
Yes.
can.
Of course, the condition does affect men who are a bit older in age. It's very rare to get it below 40. And so because in a man who has had the surgery, the ejaculation is retrograde, meaning the man will now not ejaculate outwards, it will go inwards. So, in other words, he'll not be able to sire children after the operation. Yeah. So fortunately, this is a man who has already had the number of children that he wanted. Yeah.
But if it happens to someone who has not, then
that would be a problem.
Too bad. Yeah. Okay, we have so much to talk about with so little time. 12 minutes left. I just can't believe this, but it always happens. I want us to switch gears and talk marriage or relationships, yeah? Because one of the reasons, or most times, it is said that we, the women, sisi ndo huwa tunawa stress. I don't know why people say that. Is it true? I mean, from your counseling sessions, Dr. Julius, I mean, with the men, have you had them complain about the women? Have you had them complain that tunawapatia pressure unnecessary?
Now, let me say this. Sometimes, of course, pressure can come from different sides. But when a woman, one of the things even the Bible says is, especially when a woman is nagging, that means you keep on saying the same thing so many times. And at the moment it passes 2 times, it has entered into the level of nagging. So I think that bothers men a lot, especially when you tell you tell a man what he needs to do, and you keep on repeating it. Now he feels like you're trying to demean him to be like your son now. And so that bothers men. The pressure also, as he said, we have also the pressure of provision. And I think we need to demystify provision. Because when God calls us a provider, we provide more than just the resources for the family. We are able to provide the love, which is very important. We provide security. You can have a man sitting in his home and he does nothing much. He provides maybe the resources, but he doesn't talk a lot. But the presence of that man in that home.
Presence and presence.
Yeah, present. He does the present, and maybe not much, but you find the presence of that man creates a security feeling to the children and to the wife. There are people who can't sleep until the man arrives home. And you only realize the power of that provision when the man exits the world. You realize we're being protected. There are women who have downplayed the man who comes home drunk. But the moment that man exits this world and probably dies, that's when they begin to see all the family, the relatives, the uncles, they were being held outside by that man. They now begin to come in and want to take the land, the resources and everything. So we also as men need to realize that provision factor of protection, not only physical, because nowadays we don't fight a lot, but the preventing some things from happening to our wives and our children by being present.
Right.
Yes.
And we talked about presence and presence because I want us to talk about fatherlessness, which for me is a menace. It's a disaster. It should be called a national pandemic, national disaster. I might be going ahead of myself, but I'm aware some ministry here in Kenya is about to release some statistics on fatherlessness in Kenya, and I've been privy to kidogo some of those stats, and they're not looking good. I think I cannot say it here. We wait until they release it, but we're not doing well. There's so much fatherlessness. Is that correct? English in Kenya. Why is this? Why do we have so many deadbeat fathers?
Let me hear. I think maybe just to start, I think one thing there is the younger generation. We have walked away so much from home. You see, our fathers, we would visit them to our places, some of them. But now we have become a place, maybe the doctor, maybe the time his son will go to where he works is maybe once in a while, and he may not see what he's doing. My brother here, when he's doing his journalism, maybe I don't know whether there's a policy where they can allow their kids to come in. So the sons are not doing what we are doing. And so they are not learning, unless now when we go home maybe for a few hours, then they will see you sit down there, maybe watch TV a little bit, and so they think that was also the way. So there is a need for mentorship on being fathers, men doing their role in teaching the sons to be fathers, because they are not able to go to their workplaces. And I also think there is that thought of being a father is just bringing a child to this place. They just like being a doctor, being a media person. There is a training that you go through to become that person. Fatherlessness, fatherhood is just giving a child. It is also requires intentional training on how to be that.
And that word intentional is where I want you to take it from, Mwakideu, because I mean, there's so much talk online on social media and people, I don't know, actually it's not a joke, it's real, that someone's dad time ya COVID 2020, 2021, na wewe unaitangwa aje? Na wewe unaendanga shule gani? This is your father asking you. I mean, aje sasa.
You know, when you talk about fathers who are not present, you know, fatherless generation, I am asking myself a lot of questions. Who is responsible when a woman gets pregnant, you know? Hii mimba, huyu jamaa alikuwa anataka. You know, I do these shows every day, Monday to Friday, every day. First of all, was the man ready to have a child? Was the man ready to have a child? Did the woman trick the man to getting pregnant? Are you getting? A lot of men are just disappearing because they were not even ready. They were just there having a relationship and stuff, and then again, ndo huyo wewe umetokea uko na mimba. Let me tell you, the same guy would the same guy.
Lakini ukifanya vitu zingine kwani hukujua hii kitu inaweza happen? No, sote tulikuwa tunajua inaweza happen, lakini kuna mtu alikuwa anataka azuie isifanyike. Lakini basi kwa nini ulikuwa unafanya? No, ulikuwa unafanya maana yake wewe pia ulikuwa unataka ifanyike. Lakini kuna consequences. All of us were ready. Kuna consequences. Yes, ziko, lakini wewe ungezuia isikuje. Umeelewa? Sasa wewe ukuzuia. Let me tell you something. Wewe ukuzuia, wewe umetaka tu ikuje na mimi sikuwa ready. I wasn't ready to get a child. Now you're telling me we are pregnant. What do you mean we are pregnant? What do you mean we are pregnant? Should we have had a woman on this panel?
Are you getting? What do you mean we are pregnant? We were not supposed to have a child.
Sawa.
A woman should, kama uko tayari kupata mimba usishike mimba. It's as simple as that. Kama hauko tayari kushika mimba, don't get pregnant. And you know there are 1,001 ways of you to decide not to get pregnant. Okay? So don't get pregnant. That's number one. Number two, you asked a question, mapema pale, ukasema, sisi mabibi huwa tuna stress mabwana zetu. You know me, there was a time, nilikuwa najiuliza maswali nasema, kwa mfano, why is it that even Christ, you know Christ lived for over 30 years in this world, but he didn't get married, right? He didn't get married because he wanted to accomplish his mission. Paul, who was one of the greatest apostles, right? Didn't get married. Now, by the way, there's a verse in Corinthians, nimesahau tu, lakini alisema katika hiyo verse yake, wale watakaoa sawa, hujafanya dhambi. Even if a virgin gets married, hakuna dhambi kweli. Lakini mutakaoa, mutapata tabu full dose. He said it.
It is 1 Corinthians chapter 7.
Yes, that one. Yes, he said it.
For real.
For the ones who are going to get, mutapata tabu full dose. So that is probably the reason why even Christ came to the world akasema, mimi sitaki tabu, wacha nipige mission yangu nimalize, niende zangu vizuri. Are you getting? So, and even that is the reason why probably when God created man, you know, Adam, he was like, okay, it was done until Adam akaboeka tu pale. Akasema, okay, huyu jamaa ameboeka. Wacha nimtafutie Eve. Lakini it looks like the plan was complete, you know?
Bila Eve.
So it looks that way to me.
Sorry.
So to me, if the woman would live the way God intended the woman to live in this world, mimi naweza kuambia tu wazi, wanaume wote humble, watarudi. You'll see the best men ever.
Dr. Sang?
Yeah, I was just saying also that we do also have some ladies who, for one reason or another, have decided not to get married but want children. And so it is now available that a lady can actually go to a hospital and get a donated sperm and get a child. And that is happening. And so at times, it's the lady herself who has decided that she would rather just stay on her own. Maybe relationships have not worked and would still want a child and bring up the child or children alone.
And that's okay. You said 1 Corinthians what?
7:28.
7:28. Sawa. Acha nitaiangalia tu.
Inasema watu watakuwa na you see the thing is, the marriage, we are not saying that people should get married. It is just like the way we say somebody desires a car. But when you have a car, then be ready to go to the garage, be ready to risk maybe your car being hit on the road, be ready to be carjacked. There are those possibilities. So marriage is not bad. But we are saying that when you're getting into it, then have the mental mindset that you are ready, because it's work.
Right.
There is nothing that works itself. You have to work it. But both of you are living, maybe somebody, you get married when you're 25, the lady is 25, that is 50 years of history coming together. Definitely mtaelewana siku moja. You'll do a lot of compromise and a lot of there'll be disagreements, but eventually you have to be the one who chooses how to work it out.
Sawa sawa. Now gentlemen, we have a minute left. Can you imagine? So I need your closing remarks, 30 seconds each. But for you, Mr. Mwakideu, I would like you to speak to alcoholism. And the menace actually did have some statistics here. We had a show on alcoholism about 2 weeks ago. Where are they? Alcohol being the most abused drug in Kenya. 1 in 5 male using alcohol, and the most shocking bit was 2.6% of primary school pupils use or abuse alcohol, 3.8% of secondary school students use or abuse alcohol. That is here in Kenya. So as part of your closing remarks, in 30 seconds, I start with you.
Well, me, I'd say that first of all, you need to ask yourself why you're drinking. Are you getting? I used to drink, right? For a long time, I would drink. But then why was I drinking? What's the reason? My father told me before he died that compare maziwa tu, pakiti ya maziwa, iko 50 bob, for example, and the drink I used to drink then, a bottle was 13,000, all right? So 50 bob inakupatia nini kwa mwili yako? Amani, unarudi home mapema, wife yuko na raha, watoi wanakuona pale, umekunywa maziwa, uko healthy. Hii 13,000 yetu unakaa late home, unafika late, wife amejam, watoi haujawaona, you spend a lot of money, afya pia inaharibu. So piga tu hesabu zako vizuri, and then you ask yourself questions. Why are you drinking? That's it.
Right.
Na mimi nimeacha 5 years now going to 6 years. So it can happen.
Congratulations.
That can happen, yeah.
Dr. Sang, 30 seconds.
I think for me, it's just as a man, including me and other doctors, just say tomorrow or next week, I'm going to the hospital, and I'll say I just want a checkup. Check my blood pressure, check my prostate, and do any tests which are necessary, and so that if there's any problem, it can be treated.
Yeah. Dr. Julius?
For me, I'll say to every man that is listening, usikufe solo. There are too many men outside there who can listen to you. They may not even offer help, but at least there are men who can listen. There are doctors you can run to. There are counselors you can talk to. So as a man, reach out to another man and talk your issues out. Look for a trusted person you can just download, and just don't die because you're burning on the inside.
Most definitely. That's a great place to end it. So much feedback. I'll just sample one who is anonymous. He says, men don't cry, but let me be honest. The moment I cried one day, I felt relieved. It's important to cry. I would advise men to cry. Not loud. Did you have to say that? But just go somewhere, cry, and let it out, okay? And I know we all heard what our panelists today had to say about that. That's where we end it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, gentlemen. Dr. Julius Kimani, a relationship expert and a marriage counselor. Dr. Edward Sang, who is an oncologist. And of course, Alex Mwakideu, a media personality, our very own here on Radio 47 and an advocate of prostate cancer awareness. Thank you for your time, for your company, for your feedback. I appreciate it, okay? Thank you to the entire crew that made this production a success. My director is screaming in my ear, telling me men don't cry, men don't say goodnight. Do you guys say goodnight? Unasemanga? Mnasemanga?
Hey.
You know ndo wanasemanga bana. Wewe ndo usemangi uko peke yako. Okay, so that's where we end it. Asante sana for tuning in. My name is Grace Kuria Kanja. I'll see you again next week. Same time, same place. Blessed night.